Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien coming to you live from TFNN. S&Ps, we kick off Monday trading with negative action. We got some tariff concerns. Let's kick it off with some price and volume. How about it? We know we got markets in the red this morning. We have yields rising a bit, but you have the S&Ps right now negative by 60 points, which is almost 1%. And man, with an hour left to go in trading, you have some volume on this pullback. We've almost done 1 million contracts already in the S&Ps. Now, Wednesday, we only had trading until 1. Okay, but even backing it up, Tuesday of last week, we've already done, not already, but we're right next to it in terms of more volume today than we did on Tuesday. And you got 1.265 is the big number out there from Monday and then the prior Friday and Thursday. But we are pulling back with some volume right now. S&P is off about 1%. We jump over the NASDAQ 100, off 0.9%, and pretty similar action. Just as much volume as we did the whole day Tuesday. 402,000 contracts, and we're coming into the last hour trading. Dow really accelerating, off by 1.2% right now. The Dow does far less volume than any of these other indices. 65,000 contracts, but same thing, right where we are on Thursday, and the Russell really taking it on the chin. The Russell off by 1.7%. Yeah, but not that much on the volume on the Russell, actually. But boy, we got some volume, you got some volatility, and let's jump over to the headline. New set of tariff rates ahead of that August deadline. So the deadline was July 9th. That gets extended until August 1st. Okay? But you're talking about new levies of 25% on Japan and South Korea beginning August 1st. Now, it's a negotiation. They're looming. But that's the number. And how about 25% on Malaysia and Kazakhstan? South Africa, 30%. Laos, Myanmar, 40%. Right? And I guess there's going to be more of those letters to come as well. But after a 90-day reprieve, the reciprocal tariffs will lower to 10%. Now we got the new numbers that are coming August 1st if there's no deal made in 30 days. Or what do? Or we push it back, right? The market has to enjoy it's getting pushed back, but what if it starts getting pushed back on a rolling basis? We'll see if it plays through. We got a little concern in the markets today, but all things considered, folks, there is concern in these markets. But let's be real about this. Okay? This would have been essentially an all-time high. Where did we get to on those highs last year? Yeah, 61.62, 61.66. You're 100 points above all-time highs, right? All we've done is given back Wednesday and Thursday. There's no real pullback just yet in this market. We are at some lofty prices, man. But we got a little pullback going today. We jumped to yields. 4.4, just like that, from 4.19. And the dollar catching some strength. Now, we've seen bids before, but we have not seen a momentum change since the beginning of the year on the dollar. Take a longer-term picture of that dollar. Okay, we're well below the lows we've had in the last couple of years. You go even bigger than that. And yeah, what's in the way of this, right? We'll see. Jump over the VIX this morning. And yeah, we have a spike to 1794. We go to a 15-minute. You're as high as almost 1850. Now 1850 on the dot. And we have a slightly elevated VIX, but all things considered. All right, let's jump around to the stories of the day. So we had a question in the den. Yeah, Royal Gold, I was going to say Rand Gold. They're buying Sandstorm. Okay, and what's remarkable here is that you look at this equity down by 7.7% right now. They're paying $3.5 billion for one of the strongest equities out there, man. You look at Sandstorm, okay, they're up by 6.2% on this news. Had been reported to a degree last week or earlier in the month, I think, so this was already priced in somewhere in this equity. But yeah, you're talking about a run, okay, when many equities have been doing one-to-ones. This thing is blowing past a 1 to 1.618 expansion. We were already pushing highs. You know, another one that this reminds me of is Kinross, which has also been one of the strongest ones out there as well. Whoops, KGC is their symbol. And look at this equity in the same way. Just over a 1-to-1, but you are pushing highs, man, at 1593 Kinross. And gold in particular, It's holding up very well. On a day that you have a dollar bounce going on, gold is up by $5 right now. You got higher yield, you got dollar strength, and gold trading higher, up by $5 as you get some tariff volatility. Now, speaking of volatility, Tesla. And boy, so Elon's going to start a third party. We see how the stock can trade with volatility. Okay. And you're back at a critical area, though, right where we were when he had a throwdown with the president on Twitter on June 5th, that acceleration. But this is the important critical area that we had for highs, going back to the high of March 26th, the highs in late April. Back it up more than that. So the cool part about a trade like this in Tesla, right, you can see how many times, right, this 300 number. You back it up, that was the high of July 2023. Yeah, right in here. That was the high late 2022. $300 was literally the high in January 2021. So you're at this critical area on Tesla on longer term. Yeah, that's right where we are. Okay, you break below there. There's some real volatility in this equity, but the cool part about it is that you're back against the wall. All right, now I say 300. You're looking to get in this equity, I would pick a stop because you see how quickly it moves $50 to $60, whether it's from 360 down to 300, down to 240 on the downside. But Tesla, down by 7%. And yeah, imagine. He's going to have both parties upset at him, and that's okay. It's supposed to be okay as a private businessman. It really shouldn't. But in the business he's in, very difficult to navigate, as we've seen, right? The politics of everything. And boy, you think politics of starting a third party? Then you're running against Democrats and Republicans while you're running this company. But hey, that's the plan. All right, we check around some of the other tech stocks. Amazon holding up well, basically flat, down 13 pennies at 223.26. Apple shares trading lower, though, off by 1.7%. Now, this thing was on a tear last week following the AI news, right? Last Monday, they're going to be using potentially Anthropic, OpenAI, somebody besides themselves. You accelerate up to almost 215, but today we're off by 1.8% for Apple. Google in the red by almost 2% right now. NVIDIA down by 0.5%. All right, folks, stay tuned. I'm coming right back with our man, Steve Rhodes. We'll talk some markets. Don't go away.